So, back by popular demand, a show about binge eating in my car. If you've ever done that, I'm excited to share this with you. Welcome to Confessions of a Binge Eater, a podcast helping women over 50 heal what's driving your urge to eat so you can finally feel in control around food and lose weight naturally without ever needing another diet that makes you feel like a failure. I'm Tricia Nelson, a former binge eater and your host. Now, I'm just going to talk to you straight talk about binge eating because I was a binge eater and I was somebody who literally had these very private, very embarrassing, very shameful binges that I didn't want anybody to know about. You know, when you're a binge eater, there's secrecy involved. There's shame involved. There's isolation involved because I don't know about you, but as a binge eater, I would eat in secret late at night when nobody was home in the house, in my car, at a movie theater, on an airplane, anywhere where I was anonymous, anywhere where nobody was watching what I was doing. Even though you're on an airplane, I've binged on an airplane. Nobody cares. Like everybody's, reading their book or listening to, their earphones or watching a movie. And I would have a bag of binge foods and I would binge on a plane. Horrible experience. And so the isolation and the shame and the loneliness of binging in secret alone, again, compounds the problem and makes it even worse. Makes it even more lonely. Of course, I wanted to be alone because I wanted to eat how I wanted to eat, right? Leave me alone. Let me eat how I really want to eat. Instead of trying to be dainty and just have a bite here or a bite there or a small bowl of ice cream or a small bowl of cereal or one piece of cake or whatever normal people are doing. I do that just so I looked normal. But what I really wanted to do is get alone with my binge foods, ice cream. My faves were, sugar and carbs, right? Bread, ice cream, pasta, macaroni and cheese, cinnamon toast, chips, potato chips, cake, cookies, Cliff Bars. What else? All different kinds of ice cream. It was gross. When I look back, it was pretty gross. But when you're addicted to sugar, that's what it is. That's what it is, and I wouldn't ever intend to eat as much as I wanted to eat, but I did want my salty with my sweet. So I'd have the salty chippy foods and then the sweet gooey gooey chewy foods. And I would want both for my binges. Now, I didn't start out as a binge eater. I just have to say I grew into a binge eater. My experience is disordered eating is progressive, and I progressed to the point of binge eating. The first time I ever binged, I think I binged when I was a kid unknowingly. Okay, I would eat too much on the weekends. I would stuff myself on the weekends with donuts and pizza and popcorn. And then I'd get literally sick to my stomach, okay? Now, I think that was connected in part to being around a family that was dysfunctional and being super miserable and just stuffing myself to get through it. Okay. But that was unconscious binging. I didn't realize what I was doing. And I had a weak stomach back then. But my first conscious binge, my sister taught me. So she and I went down to Friendly's Ice Cream. I grew up in Concord, Mass. And there's a Friendly's, which is kind of like a Denny's, or it's an ice cream shop, right? They have sandwiches and fries and all that, but hamburgers. But it's, lots of ice cream. So we went down and we both ordered, she taught me this, we ordered a pint of orange sherbet. I think we both got orange sherbet. We had a pint. They'd pack it. They'd make it right on the spot. We each got a spoon. Again, this is the first time I've ever done this back then. I was in 4th grade. And we both sat on the curb and ate a pint of orange sherbet ice cream. And so I think I shared this on a masterclass recently, and somebody wrote in the chat, you couldn't have done better in your choice. And yes, the answer to that is, yeah, if I were to do it again, it'd probably be like fudge swirl or chocolate mountain, whatever, chunky monkey, I don't know what. But anyway, it was orange sherbet. But the point is that was a conscious binge. Like she and I both sat, we both had a pint of ice cream, we took the lid off, and we ate the whole thing. She was a binge eater. She taught me that, and I was off to the races. I I didn't know you could just buy a big bunch of food and eat it. Like, even though I'd done it, it wasn't as conscious as that. So I was off to the races. And from that point on, I would do that. I'd buy a pint of ice cream and eat it. But then my binges grew. Again, salty with the sweet, cake with the ice cream, and then the chips and whatever. So that's how it went for me. Probably the worst was when after I had been like in 12-step programs for food, and after I knew like there was a place I could go, it made my binges worse. I don't know if you've had that experience, but somehow because I could always go back there when I would binge, it would get more violent, more extreme, and last longer. So once it was sort of like, oh, there's somewhere I can go to get patched up, right? When I'm done, I'll go back there. It gave me license to binge, and maybe because I'd heard all the binging stories at those meetings as well. I don't know, but it was worse, and it was more severe, and it was darker, and I would fall down this dark hole. So the binging was progressive. It got progressively worse and actually scary, and one of the worst things was driving around in the car binging. So I did binging and driving because, again, I could be alone. Nobody could see what I was doing. I'd be listening to like talk radio or something on the radio. I'd drive around. I'd be putting my hand in the bag or the box as I was driving. It was very dangerous. I'd eat ice cream, with my holding the wheel with my knee so I could get another spoonful of ice cream. So I binged and drove, and then I did that again so I could be alone. Nobody could bother me. Nobody would see me. Oh, so lonely, so scary. And sometimes I would so let me finish that. So I'd do that, and then I'd throw away the remains of everything I'd eaten and then go home as if nothing had happened. Have you ever done that? Yeah. And it's, living that double life as a binge eater is really horrifying because you're lying to everybody. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to everybody else. And the other thing is I'd go out late at night and get binge foods. So I'd go out to 24-hour to grocery stores that are open 24 hours or open late, 12 p.m., 1 a.m. And I would get binge foods before they closed, if they closed, and bring them home and binge. That's when I was living alone or when it was late at night and nobody knew. But it was scary. I'd go out late at night to get binge foods, and I'd be walking through the parking lot, a dark parking lot, and it wasn't safe. I'd be in a city and it wouldn't be safe. And so, but I would do that because I had to get my foods. I had to get my food. And I couldn't wait till morning. When I was in that mode, when I was addicted to the sugar and the carbs, I had to have it. It's awful. I don't think everybody knows this, or maybe not everybody binges this way. And if this isn't how you ate, I'm so glad. It doesn't mean you're not an emotional eater. It just means maybe you're not a binge eater, but you can still be an emotional eater even if you're just eating too much at meals or snacking between meals. But for me, I was a violent eater. I ate in binge quantity, large quantities of food, like 2,000, 3,000 calories. Then I'd feel so disgusting. If you ever watched my TedX talk, I described this. You get so full, and then you throw away the rest of the food because you're like, that's so gross. I'm never, like, you lose your desire for those foods in the moment. And so you're like, I'm never eating that again. And I'd throw it out. And then I'd go back and get it later. If I knew there were cookies in the trash and I woke up in the morning, I'd be like, I don't want those cookies to go to waste. So that's how it was for me. And I share that because, especially at my TEDx talks, so many people comment and they're like, oh my God, I've done that. And I just want to kind of, take away the shame, take away the stigma of binge eating. Not that it's not horrifying still, but you're not the only one who's done it. I've done it. I've lived it. I know the hell of it. And you think you're going to stop the next day, and you don't. Maybe you don't eat breakfast and lunch because you're like trying to make up for the calories you packed away the night before, but then by dinner, you're hungry again. And then you're craving the things you ate. Like I would eat things maybe for my first time. I'd try out new things at the store, and then I'd want more of that the next night. And I'd do it again. And it just turned into this nightmare of binge eating. So if you have that experience, I just want to share you're not alone. This is like gazillions of people across the land are doing this. And it's horrifying. It's an addictive habit. And again, you're likely not going to stop on your own. And you're likely not going to stop without, a process, without a program to help you stop. And you might have stopped for a long period of time and then started up again. I did that too. And you think you're done. You're like, I'm done. I'm never doing that again. And then you do. You get another bump in the road, another, point of stress in your life, and you're doing it again. So I've been there. I've done it. There is a way out. You're probably not going to figure it out on your own. That's what Heal Your Hunger is about. And I'm just here to say, I don't eat like that anymore by the grace of God. I've made changes in my life. I do things on a daily basis that enable me to live in freedom. That's what I teach my clients. And I'm just here to say, you can come out of the darkness. You don't have to live like that anymore, but you're going to have to, make some changes. And I'm here to help if you want help. But hopefully this alone will give you some encouragement and hope that there's a way out. If I've overcome this, friends, you can too. I promise you. And I'm happy to show you how and take you by the hand and guide you on a path of freedom. That's what my clients are experiencing. That's what you deserve to experience. Life is waiting for you. Being obsessed with food and weight is no way to live. Anyway, that's my story. I love you so much. I'll see you on the next show. If you're ready to get off the dieting roller coaster ride and finally make peace with food and with your body, talk to a Heal Your Hunger mentor about what steps you need to take based on your own history with food and weight. Go to healyourhunger.com and register for an emotional eating breakthrough session and see how fast you can experience real change. It's a complimentary evaluation, but there are limited spots available. So go to healyourhunger.com and register to speak with a mentor today.